Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I want to cover a subject basically that a lot of people may not be familiar with. Basically, I always keep saying in most of my videos that there's a game being played, and what I'm basically trying to say is that there is a game being played, but a lot of people might not understand exactly the detail how serious this game is. Your birth certificate, it's pretty much a bond. It's traded on the stock market. You can research this yourself. Your ID, that your state issue ID, if you pull out your state ID right now, your name's gonna be in all capital letters. If you pull out any bill that you have in your house, unless it's life insurance, it's gonna be in all capital letters, 95% of the time, all capital letters. Look at this all capital letters and pay attention to it in detail, because the all capital letter thing means something. Because if you went to school, you will know that we do not write people's name in all capital letters. The only thing that get written in all capital letters is businesses, corporations. So when I started researching this topic, it was hard for me to understand and grasp this, but when I started researching in depth, I started realizing that there's truth to it. The all capital letter U, it's not really you, it's like, they call it a straw man. I would like to say it's basically your corporation. It's like your tax ID that you have about yourself that you don't even know you was a corporation or business. So when you see the all capital letter name used, like a mirror image of you, so every time you go to court and they want you to pay a ticket, or when you go to court for drinking in public or whatever the case may be, they're actually wanting the corporation to show up, not you, the individual. Because you are a person that no one can tell you what to do in this world. You are an individual that came to this world free will. Nobody could possibly tell you what to do. So how they control you is in one of my videos I mentioned the Federal Reserve, and the gold standard got abolished in 1933. So the United States was already bankrupt. They've been bankrupt since they got created in the 1700s. They was bankrupt in 1776. They was already bankrupt. And in 1933, when they got out the gold standard, they actually pledged the citizens, and this is where birth certificates actually got created. Prior to that, you would just use your surname or your family name. There was no such thing as a birth certificate, and it only got created because it was a form of title or some type of registration to register each person that was being born, so they could keep track of them, because they were basically modern day slavery going on in an economic point of view, which is called economic slavery, and that's another topic that I want to get into later. But for the all capital letter name you, I just want people to understand that that's not really you. That's a business that they created for you when you was not even born. And you need to start understanding that you cannot get yourself out of this contract with the government. People have tried, and I'm not going to recommend any of them techniques, if people know exactly what I'm talking about. What I do recommend is that you start understanding that you are a business, and you need to start moving like one. And this is why you're in the financial situation you're in right now, because you've been taught from young in school to get a job and work for someone and follow that path. And that path is actually the setup path, because they actually want you to work for their corporations that they created. They don't want you to work for yourself. They don't want you to be an independent person, because that's the key to success. That's the key to freedom in the way the government structured itself in the US. The US government is actually a corporation themselves. That's why when people go to court and they talk about the Constitution's backs me up, the Constitution has not been in effect since the US became a corporation in 1880 something. I don't remember the exact year. But the US is a corporation, and they've been running as a corporation for many years already, and everything in the US is a corporation, is a business. And if you open up your eyes and you see how the US is being ran, all the media is just pumping things for you to buy from them, everybody's selling something. The US is a corporation, and until you start realizing that you are a subsidiary of the corporation and you are a branch of that corporation, you will not understand why is it your life is the way it is. And I'm just saying this video so people to enlighten them that we need to snap out of this. We need to understand that we need to start moving like a corporation. We need to start moving like the business that they created for us, whether we like it or not, because if not, you're just gonna work for one of their businesses. And like I said earlier, economic slavery, it's similar to the slavery when they had slaves in the early US history, because like I said, I don't want to get too much into the subject, but economic slavery is very, very close to the other slavery, in the sense that they still have control of us the same way they had control of the other slave. The only difference now is that you think you're free, it's just your brain is still locked down and you feel like you can move as you please. But financially you can't do what you want, and you're still stuck in your neighborhood. You still can't afford to do anything you want in your life. So technically you're still a slave to this game, and you don't wake up in the morning and go to work, the little life you created around yourself is going to collapse. So I'm only putting these videos up not to scare people, but to enlighten people that we need to wake up as a group, as a whole, and start realizing that there's a game being played and we need to get out this game, because we didn't sign up for it. I personally did not know it was a business till maybe a couple years ago, and I did not know this, because if I did know this, I would have ran myself differently, I would have thought differently, I would have moved a little differently, I would have not been a consumer to everything that I just ran across. And until you start realizing that, it's going to be hard for you to really grasp how the US runs. So anything I say, I want people to research this for themselves, to see that this information, you need to find it out on your own, because it's going to hit everybody differently depending on how they get it. So I did my research, and I just give everybody a recommendation to do theirs. We're going to take it from there.